Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. We'll start our today's session. Today's session it is based on your module 4, that too with respect to media access control protocol itself. Media access control protocol was having three different categories. One is random access control. Second one is controlled access protocol. The third one is channelization. We have already seen random access control protocol as well as controlled access protocol with respect to media access control protocols. The last one left out is channelization. Today we'll just see it. This channelization looks similar to your multiplexing technique. There's no change in either multiplexing technique as well as your channelization principle. What is this multiplexing is all about? You're combining so many datas into a single channel while transmitting, or we are sharing with respect to the time, right? That's what we have just studied it. So we have three techniques that is coming under your channelization principle. One is called as frequency division multiple access, which is similar to your frequency division multiplexing technique, and time division multiple access time division multiplexing technique is similar to it. One more thing that has been added to your channelization is, instead of wavelength division multiple access, wavelength division multiplexing technique, they have just used one more technique called as code division multiple access. So frequency division multiple access, we already know that about it. What is this frequency division is all about? We have a single channel. In that particular channel, within the same time, if you want to feed the data and send it to the other particular area, means how it can be done with respect to frequency domain. The each channel itself is divided into several bands, and each band will be utilizing its own particular details of it. So from each one to one particular band, one source for that one particular band, similarly for other source, one more particular band, like that it will be going on. All the members will be sharing the same particular channel itself, but with channel will be divided into several parts. Whereas time division multiplexing, channel is one. With respect to the time, different people will be using, or different source elements will be using the same channel. So that's how it will be working with respect to your time division multiple access. Code division, with respect to this, we need to know one particular concept called as we need to generate a code. How to generate a code, that is called a chip sequence according to this particular concept. We'll just check it out how to design that. How what happens with respect to, once it comes to the channel, entire thing should be one. That is, all should be multiplexed, all should be combined, and it should be sent to the other particular party. How it will be done, that's very important to know with respect to code division multiple access. Frequency division multiple access remains same as I told you with respect to how you have understood the multiplexing technique. Frequency division multiplexing technique the same way. What is the change that we are seeing here is, the entire particular channel is divided into several particular bands. Each band will be separated by a guard band. Why? Because of the overlapping principle. So since it overlaps with respect to that, you need to just have a guard band in between the things. See here, the frequency division multiple access, how it will be functioning is, from each source, one particular, the channel, one part will be dedicated to use that particular band itself. So similarly for the second source, one more particular thing. Third source, one more. Fourth source, one more. So right from the top to bottom, it will be working. Which is at the starting point, which particular source will be wanted to access the channel, means that will be at the topmost of the level of that particular channel division that you have made. So that's all. In FDMA, the available bandwidth of the common channel is divided into bands. That's what I said. The available bandwidth of the entire channel is divided into bands, and each band is separated by guard bands. Why guard band? Because you need to just have a, in order to identify the overlapping, or in order to avoid the overlapping, we require guard bands to be available over there. Understood? Similarly, with respect to your time division, it will be from the left to right, it will be just moving. So entire channel within that particular time interval, it will be used by one particular source itself. The other source need to wait until that particular time is finished. Once the time is finished, after leaving a small interval time, then again the second particular data, second data from the second source will be taken into consideration. Like that, the things will be moving on. So this is nothing but your time division multiplexing. The bandwidth is just one channel itself, but time shared between different stations. That's what it is with respect to TDM. So these things we have already seen with respect to your multiplexing technique. The same technique is implemented along with how to utilize the channel. That is very important here to know. Understand it. The next one is code division multiple access. This is very, very important concept. You will be getting at least one question from your channelization principle. So either code division multiple access or frequency division and time division, they may ask you to get the differences, or anyone, it can be asked to explain in the exam. Okay, so one channel carries all the transmissions at the same time. So the idea here is you need to transmit the entire particular channel data into a single channel, and that channel should be transmitting the entire combination of all the particular data coming from different sources should be combined and should be sent. See, for our better understanding, we have a diagram here. This is station 1, this is station 2, 3, like that 4. 4 stations are there. So each one of it is involved in sending the data. So D1 indicates data at the source end 1. D2 source and 2. D3 source and 3. D4 source and 4. It may be one bit of data or a block of data. That is not important here. What is important here is what type of data that I'm trying to send and from which source it is coming. That is very important. For each one of the source, we will be finding or will be generating one type of chip sequences. That chip sequences is nothing but the codes that will be generating. That code will be depending on how many stations that is involved in sharing a single channel. If it is 5 months, 5 bit of chip sequence I need to just generate it. 4 months, 4 bit of chip sequence I need to generate it. After generating the sequence, before sending it to the channel, I need to merge. I need to just add those particular elements, multiplex those particular elements to the data element that I am having it. After multiplexing it, after combining it, I need to send it to the common channel. So not only the data coming from the data combined with chip sequence that is generated at the source end 1, should be combined with respect to all the particular sources in the similar fashion. Once it is done, you need to add all the elements and you need to send it to the common channel. Through this common channel, you need to send it to the other end. So at the other end, it will be decoded back. Okay, how to decode it? We'll say just see it. This is the principle that is involved in code division multiple access principle. Okay, so what about the chip sequences? How to generate this chip sequences? So we have one type of chip sequence that is generated for your 4 stations that is available, or that is utilizing a single channel to transmit the data for 4 stations only this month. So C1, C2, C3, C4. C1 will be +1, +1, +1, +1. C2 will be +1, -1, +1, -1. C3 will be +1, +1, -1, -1. C4 will be +1, -1, -1, +1. Now, if you just observe these particular chip sequences, if you just apply a cross product, vector product with respect to your dot product with respect to your any of the chip sequences, the inner product of any particular inner product of all these particular members is nothing but 0. Then we call it as an orthogonal vectors. So your chip sequences, how to choose it? Each one, if you just have an inner product of each vector element, then you need to get the value as 0. In that particular manner, you need to choose it. For example, for our better understanding, we'll just take a small thing. That is, we'll just say sequence 1, chip sequence 1 dot chip sequence 2. Okay, so dot product, if you are applying it, means how it will be done. We'll just try to analyze. +1 dot, that is multiplied with +1, that is 1 to 1. The simple words, if I want to say it, first it will be doing the dot product of the first element that is available. Next one is second element. Next one is third element. Last one is fourth element. In this particular manner, it will be going. So with respect to that, We'll just come back. We'll just try to write it once again. C1 dot C2. It is that particular manner. First, it will be +1 dot +1. Second element will be +1 minus dot product. Similarly, it goes on +1 dot product of minus. Just to avoid the confusion. After this, it will be +1 dot product of. If you add all these particular elements, then you'll be getting the product. So that is nothing but it will be yeah, this will be 0. If you want to check, you can check it. So this is orthogonal vectors. So inner product of any pair, if you are checking it, then it should be 0. If that is the case, then it will be. On the other side, if both the particular vectors are perpendicular to each other, then also we'll call it as an orthogonal vectors. Both the things are correct. Which context we are just seeing it, depending on that, we can just analyze it. This is called as orthogonal vectors. In that particular manner, we need to choose the chip sequences. Next one is with n stations, sequences must have the following properties. How many stations are involved? So depending upon the chip sequence, data bit should also be having that length. Yeah, 4 stations are involved in transmitting the data, then 4 sequences you need to generate it. Each sequence should have 4 bits of data that you need to have it. Self inner product also you can just check out. It should be equal to whatever the n values are. 4 is there, 4 it should be coming. Self inner product, that is +1 into +1 into +1 into +1 +1 +1 +1. If you just add it, then it will be nothing but 4. See here, +1 +1 -1 -1. What will be the thing? So this is what we will be just trying to analyze it. So it will be nothing but the number of stations, how many it is having. Depending on that, you need to choose the chip sequence. That means chip sequence you need to have it. Depending on that particular number of chip sequences, each particular sequence should have the number of bits as n stations. How many stations are there? That many number of bits you need to have it with. There is a simple calculation or how to generate the sequence. We'll just check it out later. Don't worry about it. This is how we'll be choosing it. Okay. So the next one is CDMA. That is code division multiple access. With respect to that, some bit representation you need to know it. So we'll not send data directly as 0 data. If it is coming 0 only, will not send it, or 1 directly will not send it. So we will be using some particular notation in order to send that. That is where your code is all about. So that's why data bit 0 if you are transmitting means -1 it will be just transmitted to the other end. I'll not transfer 0 directly. Instead of 0, I'll transfer -1. So data bit 1 means I'll encode it to +1. I'll transmit it. If no data is involved or no data is sent from the particular station means I'll go with the silent mode. Silent mode means 0 bit will be transmitted. 0 indicates it is a silent, that is no transfer has been occurred from that particular station. +1 if it is there means then 1 bit of data is transmitted, that is data bit is 1 over that will be transmitted to the channel. Whereas if the bit is -1 that you are transmitting means then the station involved in sending a data called as 0 over that. The bit 0 will be sent over the channel. This is what the representation that we all need to know about it. Next comes here transmission in CDMA. This is mathematical calculation, how we can calculate and how we can just send it to the other end. This is only with respect to generating the data. That's it. That need to be available to send to the other side of the or receiver part through the common channel. Okay, so here what is going to do is station 1, 2, 3, 4. So like that, 4 stations are available. So each station wants to send the data. Some station want to silently view what is going on. So for that, we need to represent the bit. If the bit 0 is available at the source station 1 means -1 is the data that I'm just transmitting over there. So this is the bit representation that I need to have it. For this, I'll be using the chip sequence C1. C1 indicates +1, +1, +1, +1, like that one. So if you just apply the dot product at that particular point of time, your particular entire, the combination of your D1, that is -1, along with the chip sequence C1 that takes +1, +1, +1, it will be taking it as -1, -1, -1 separately. Fine. Similarly, with respect to your second station, bit 0 is represented. Bit 0 is able to send the data. So bit 0 means that is -1 should be the representation for that particular bit 0 that you want to transmit it. The actual data is 0, but I'm transmitting it to, I'm converting it to -1 and I'm transmitting it. So this -1 should be dot product with respect to your sequence C2. So with respect to that, sequence C2 contains +1, -1, +1, -1. So it was a alternative -1, +1, -1, +1 will be the T2 dot C2 answer. So that is what you will be getting it. Similarly, for your third station want to be silent. Want to be silent means 0 bit will be silent means nothing doing. So 0 is the bit representation for making it as silent. So 0 multiplied by your C3 chip sequence. C3 is +1, +1, -1, -1. Anything you multiply it with 0, it will be 0, 0, 0 itself. So D3 dot C3 will be 0, 0, 0, 0. So this is what it will be. Next one will be with respect to your station 4. Station 4 is involved in sending the data bit 1. 1 is ready means +1 will be the bit representation that we'll be using to represent bit 1. So for that +1 multiplied with the dot dot operation with respect to your chip sequence C4. C4 will be having +1, -1, -1, +1. This is the chip sequence. So for this +1, if you just add it, means the same sequence will be generated over there. There's no change in it. Okay. So now, if you just combine all these particular values, then only you'll be getting the common channel. So with respect to this, if you just take the example, or whatever has been given over here. So if I just try to annotate it, so what is there with respect to your first bit of your all representation? -1. Similarly, your from your station 2 is also -1. Station 3 is 0. And station 4 is +1. Right? So with respect to this, your -1 and +1 get cancels. -1, 0 is there. So 0 is not neglected. So -1 will be represented. So your first particular bit that you are having is -1. Similarly, with respect to your second particular bit representation. Here, in the second interval of time, so -1, +1. With respect to this is 0. So this is not at all involved in it. You can easily neglect that. Next one is be -1. So +1, -1 get cancels. +1, -1 get cancelled. So -1 will be the answer. This one will be represented here. The next one, it is -1, -1, it is -2, it will be 0, it means -2 only. -1 if it is having means if you add all these three particular members, then it will be -3 will be the answer. That is what the data that we are having. Now, next particular thing is, next bit is -1, +1. So here only we can cancel it. So other thing is 0 is that, so nothing to do. The last one is +1. So this will be retained as it is. See here. Now this -1, -1, -3, +1 will be the data that is available in the common channel and it will be transmitted to the other end. Understood? So this is how it will be working with respect to your transmission in code division multiple access. Same thing with respect to your hardware design, we are just seeing it over here. Station 1, Station 2, Station 3, Station 4. Station 1 is involved in sending the data bit as 0. 0 bit, if you are sending once, it will be represented, the coded in the manner as -1. That is where code division multiple access will be represented. Similarly, station 2 is also, the bit 0 is represented, bit 0 is sending to the other end, so it will be represented by -1. If station 3 is keeping silent means, then bit representation will go with saying that it is 0. The next part is with respect to your station 4. Station 4 is involved in sending the bit 1. Bit 1 means +1 should be the representation that we need to have it. So now this one will be multiplied by your chip sequence C1, chip sequence C2, similarly chip sequence C3, this is chip sequence C4, ABCD, whatever the value is there, right? That is nothing but here chip sequence 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever we have seen in the previous slide. Now with respect to that, if you just apply the dot product with respect to your data bit and the chip sequences, then you'll be getting the corresponding data elements. Now this is not the data that actually we are sending it. We will be multiplexing it. They will be combining this. So first bit of your particular representation, it will be combined with respect to all these particular things. So if you just try to have a column wise data in this, so it will be represented like this. -1 +1 get cancels, -1 will be the data that will be represented here. Similarly, with respect to your second element, it is -1 +1, so you can cancel this. So -1 will be represented, that is your second data. Similarly, -1, -1, -2, +0 is -2 itself, plus -1 will be -3, so that will be represented. The last one is -1 +1, so here only we will be cancelling it. 0 will be the 0 itself, the last part is +1, so +1 will be the last bit. This will be sent in the common channel to the receiver. So once it received at the receiver end, what is the step that it will be taking care? What is the decoding part? So if it is arriving in the same particular fashion, how we have just sent it through the common channel, then you need to decode it because you want the data actually, not the representation or not this particular data, encoded data, whatever is available. So just for our convention, so -1, -1, -3, +1 is the data, right? So with respect to that, the chip sequence should also be known at the receiver end also. So C1, C2, C3, followed by C4. Fine. So this should be known to both the parties. So this is the same particular thing, concept. So now you just apply the dot product between your received data and the chip sequence that you are having it. So with respect to that, you will be getting a data. Say, for example, first one, chip sequences +1, +1, +1, +1. With respect to a dot product, if you are applying means -1 into +1 is -1. That will be the case. -1 into +1, that is -1 itself. -3 into +1, it is nothing but -3 itself. Similarly, your +1 into +1, it will be +1. You need to add all these particular elements. If you add these particular inner elements, then you will be getting the addition of it. So it will be -4. Divide this particular, whatever the addition value that you got it. So you divide it by the number of stations that you are having it. How much is the number of stations? Depending on that only you are generating this, right? Number of stations is 4, so that's why 4 bit of chip sequence that you are having it in each particular sequence that you are generated. Yes or no? So with respect to that, divide it by 4. 4 stations are involved in sending the data with respect to that. So it will be -1. -1 is represented as bit 0. It is understood that bit 0 is the one that we want to represent it at the first station. From the first station, bit 0 is generated. Similarly, with respect to your second sequence, same particular principle you need to just apply. With respect to that, -1 if you are getting means bit 0, +1 if you are getting as the after dividing, then it will be nothing but bit 1 will be represented. If it is 0 means it's a silent bit that you are just having it. So station 3 is not involved in transmitting any data. That is the thing that we can just take with respect to your at the decoding. So this is with respect to code division, multiple access, encoding as well as decoding principle. Chip generation or chip sequence, that is what we were worrying, how they got this particular value, right? So for that, in order to generate your chip sequence or sequence generation, we have one particular technique called as Walsh table. What is this Walsh table is all about? I'll just explain you, don't worry. Walsh table will always be having W. If you have the one station, then it will be nothing but W1 is equal to plus 1 will be the sequence that you will be having for one station. Okay, the next one is Walsh table with respect to your 2 times of your n stations. Whatever the n station is there, that will be 2 times of that. Number of sequences based on the 2 power. So with respect to that 2 is there means then you will be having the 4 different values available over here. What is that particular 4 values? So first one will be W1 itself. Similarly, second particular first row, first column with respect to W1. First row, second column will be W1. Second row, first column will be W1. But second row, second column will be complement of your W1. This is what it will be. Now, if you just substitute the value of W1, you'll be getting the answer as plus 1, plus 1, plus 1. The last part is minus 1 because it's a complement of it. So this is your Walsh table with respect to 2 stations. It's in the powers of 2, right? So next particular station will be having with respect to your W4. With respect to W4, it's a very simple thing. W2, W2, W2. Last part is W2 complement. So if you just have it, so this is W2 is plus 1, plus 1, plus 1, minus 1. Similarly, you'll be substituting the second one. Third one will be plus 1, plus 1, plus 1, minus 1. The last part is minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, plus 1, complement. So this will be the nothing but your W4. Now, if you just observe this, if you just take the first particular row, second row, and third row, just check out with respect to the chip sequence that we had with respect to your C1, C2, C3, C4. C1 was plus 1, plus 1, plus 1, plus 1. This is how it will be generated. C2 is nothing but plus 1, minus 1, plus 1, minus 1. If you want, you can just go back and check that. See here, plus 1, plus 1, plus 1, plus 1, minus 1, plus 1, minus 1. If you want, I can just, I will be just writing the Walsh table here itself with respect to 4 stations, right? So W4, it will be, sorry, it will be W4, which will be equal to W2 will be plus 1, plus 1, plus 1, minus 1. Similarly, it will be plus 1, plus 1, plus 1, minus 1. Here, it will be repeated, plus 1, plus 1, plus 1, minus 1. Here it will be minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, plus 1. C1, if you just check it out, you take the row, plus 1, plus 1, plus 1, plus 1. C2, plus 1, minus 1, plus 1, minus 1. So if you just say the second row, third row, you just observe, this will be nothing but here, plus 1, plus 1, minus 1, minus 1. So this is how the chips sequence can be generated. It will be easy for us to just analyze it. Instead of checking which particular inner product will be 0, going to 0, checking for orthogonal vectors, if you just observe or if you just generate with respect to your Walsh table, it will be giving you. Suppose if you want to have the value or Walsh table to be generated for next value will be to the power, right? So next to the power 2, if you are going with respect to this means W8 will be the value. That means 8 stations will be getting involved with respect to it. It's very simple. W4, W4, W4. The last value will W4 complement. You substitute what is W4 with respect to each one of the block, then you'll be getting the Walsh table for 8. 16, similar way. 32, similar way. So it goes on. So it will be in terms of power 2. So with respect to that, you can generate n number of Walsh table, n station, whichever the station that you are having involved in using the common channel, for that you can generate it. Why it is always 2 to the power of something? Why can't it be 3 to the power of or 10 to the power of something? Because we are dealing with respect to 2 digits always, that is 0 and 1. So always it will be with respect to the 2-bit representation itself. Understood now? So each station can get involved in sending 0 or 1, any one value. Depending on that, it will be taken. Any doubt with respect to this class? Any doubt? If you're not having any doubt, we can just move on to the next particular topic. Hello? Okay. Yes, we'll just move on to the next one. This is stop and wait protocol, how it will be just working. Without an acknowledgement, it cannot move further. So I got an acknowledgement saying that no sir, everything is understood. So that's why I'm just moving to the next slide. So the next one is data link layer with respect to that services we are talking about. So in that, we are already seeing so many services. One is how to utilize the flow control example. The flow control is done with respect to your so many um, techniques are there: random access, controlled access, and your channelization. We have used it along with that stop and wait. We have seen it, how it will be done. Everything we have just seen it. Error control also with respect to that. We have used CRC and all those things. So along with that, if we have some other particular services, which are all those things, we'll just see it in this particular topic: data link layer introduction, followed by link layer addressing ARP. So this is how the exact scenario of your data link layer will be addressed with. So you have one particular source member who want to get involved in sending the data. So they will be just using this particular box. In this particular box, you'll be having the service providers routers. Each router will be having its own particular routing table. Depending on that, it gets connected. With respect to this, it will be moving to the next particular router in the similar fashion. A switch is there means with respect to your wide area network or local area network, whichever it may be. So depending on that, we just switching with respect to that technique, and then it will be routed to the another router. Once it reaches to this destination word, you'll be having n number of transactions in between. How these particular transactions will be done based on the addressing. How the addressing will be available with respect to a data link layer. Data link layer always follows a physical address, not the logical addresses. Logical addresses are addressed in the network layer itself. So that is your IP addresses with respect to your logical addresses. Physical address is MAC address. So this MAC address is very, very important. Who will be responsible for doing that and how this particular transaction will be taken care. That is very, very important. So because once you see each router, it will be having its own particular access point as well as a number will be given. So with respect to that number only, I can just move the rest of the packets or rest of the frames to the next immediate router which is available or else which is connected, and then it need to be sent to the destination part. From Alice to Bob, you need to send the data. So how it will be happening based on your data link layer, how the network layer will be helpful in transmitting or converting your node addresses to the data link addresses is very, very important. What are all the services that we are having? It framing, we have seen that, how to frame that. So with respect to that, we'll be having bitwise adding as well as bytewise adding. With respect to that, escape sequence we'll be adding, or else we add a flag at the end as well as the starting part. So depending on that, we'll be just designing the framing part. Flow control, that is your stop and wait. So we cannot allow all the particular data frames to be transmitted from one end to other end. So you need to have a control over that. For that, stop and wait, or else you can go with the stop and wait protocol. We have seen it. So apart from stop and wait protocol, we have seen one more protocol. Go back N is that, but we have not seen go back N. So simple protocol, we have just seen it with respect to your transmission. So depending on that, we have just controlled the flow. Error control, we have seen it in the previous module itself, module 3 last part, error detection and error correction. CRC, checksum, block coding or linear coding, whichever one, you can just apply it over that. So the last part is your congestion control. Congestion control, how we can avoid it. For that also we have seen that. How? Based on our CSMA, pure Aloha, slotted Aloha, CSMA bar CD, CSMA bar CA, everything will comes under your congestion control. So all these are DLL services that we need to just look into. See here, they have given us diagram where we need to send the data from source to destination. For that, we have one particular link which is common to source and destination because it's very far enough to transmit the data. Just because of it, we have one particular access point. This is called as router. Now, from your data link layer from the source, it will be transmitting the frame to the router data link layer. With respect to this now, you need to have an address and it need to be transmitted to the other particular type. So frame type 1, that is nothing but available at the source part. From the frame type 2, that is nothing but available at the destination side. So depending on that, it will be moving. How it will be moved? Based on your addressing part. So we'll be having two types of addressing. One is called as node address, another one is called as network layer address. Link layer address is called as node addresses. Network layer addresses are called as IP addresses. IP addresses are framed or sent from the upper layer called as network layer itself. It will be just sending that particular logical addresses will be attached and it will be sent to the data link layer. From the data link layer, you need to have a link address. Link address is nothing but each particular router will be having one particular more than one links available over there. To which link that I have just targeting to, which is the incoming link, which is the outgoing link. So for that, every particular link, whatever is available at the router or available at the source end, it will be just transmitting or it will be having one particular address. That is called as link layer address. That is called as MAC address, actual address of that particular thing. So with respect to that, it will be just entering and it will be just sent to the respective data that is available in that particular area. So with respect to the type of addressing, we have three different types of addressing. One is called as unicast, another one is called as multicast, last one is broadcast. What is this unicast is all about? Unicast is nothing but one-to-one communication. That is point-to-point communication if you are having, means you can use this type of addressing called as unicast. Whereas multicast, if you are going to happen, means then one-to-many. One person will be having a transaction from the to the multiple fellows. So any particular thing they can come. So broadcast is nothing but to many, whoever is surrounding around me. For all those particular fellows, I'll be just transmitting the broadcasting the addresses. Saying that I'm just want to transmit the data. So are you free? Are you free? Like that, the messages will be transmitted. This is a different types of addressing that we are having. So for example, they have given the representation of the addressing. This address is nothing but the MAC address. How to represent or how to check whether it is a MAC address? It will be in the hexadecimal format. Whereas with respect to your IP addresses, it will be having or it will be represented in the decimal format, and each one of the bit will be having dot operator in between. That too with respect to IPv4 address. Okay, that's how we will be just representing here. You may ask, sir, looking into this particular complete scenario, see, for unicasting also you are using the same address. For multicasting also you are using the same address, and for your broadcasting also you may have used the same address. Just check out with respect to your A3 and A2. That gives you the clear-cut picture. For your A3, that is represented with respect to your unicast. If A2 is at the starting point, at that particular point of time, you are representing the multicast or broadcast, because both are one and the same, almost same. What is happening with respect to your multicast means I'll choose out of 10 nodes that is available, 5 nodes I'll be sending it. Broadcast means for all the 10 nodes. That's the difference. That is nothing else apart from that. Okay. So the next thing is we need to know something about address resolution protocol. This is ARP is all about. Your IP addresses will be represented, right? With respect to that particular IP addresses, there will be alternate, or there will be a table where the MAC address will also be attached with respect to it. You need to get that particular addressing. For getting that, we need to go with address resolution protocol. ARP will help us to map the addresses related to your IP addresses which you have got from your upper layer while sending the data to the other particular area. So once it reaches to that particular area, it will check for that particular IP address. Based on the IP address, it will get the MAC address, and that MAC address along with the system MAC address, it will cross verify. Both are one and the same, it will be transmitting to the other particular party. See here, with respect to your request and your reply broadcasting. So what happens here is, so looking for a link layer address. What is the time? Yeah. Okay. This ARP will just see it in the next class probably in detail. Right now, time up. We'll stop here. Okay. Thank you very much for your patience listening.